Well, y'all, I am back from St. Lucia. Where do I start is the real question. So I just want to remind everyone, I'm starting to document all of my trips. If you have questions about any trips I've been on previously that I have not recorded, please feel free to let me know. Also, as a reminder, I did do a video of my trip to Iceland. I will try to post the video up above. If you are interested in going to Iceland, please click that. So I'm not going to waste any more time going over things like following or sharing. I just want to get straight into my review of SOCA Island tours, specifically for the St. Lucia Carnival 2026 experience. So the first half of the video is going to cover the timeline all the way from when I decided to book the trip up until day one of when I landed in St. Lucia. I'm going to cover timeline, pricing breakdowns, and the itinerary of everything during that time frame and throughout the trip. So if you don't want to know about booking through SOCA Island Tours, you can skip to the day one part of the video and we can just get into the itinerary. So without further ado, let's get into the timeline. I first discovered SOCA Island Tours on Instagram. I was scrolling. I do a lot of traveling, so a lot of travel advertisements come my way. I decided to go on the Instagram and do a little digging, and I was like, I do want to participate in Carnival, so let me just see what they offer. They did offer Carnival in all of the Caribbean islands, and I went with one that I thought was financially the best for me. Please keep in mind that all Carnival experiences are equally, if not more expensive than the trip I'm going to break down today. Even the prices for 2027 Carnival, which I looked at last night, are more expensive than the Carnival prices that I had for this year. The one that was within my budget at the time was St. Lucia. So I decided to sign up for the St. Lucia experience on 8 June of 2025. I created an account and I put down my initial payment. And then also there are things you pick within this time frame. The site advertises a certain price for these trips. Please keep in mind that the price you see is not the price you're going to pay. It's going to change drastically. That site price does not include your Carnival costume. So the site price is just the base price. So I believe the base price was around $2,900 at the time. And when you do sign up and create your account, you are then going to choose a frontline or backline costume. You're going to choose if you want feathers or not. There was some confusion with this moving forward. I'm going to explain that later on in the video. You're going to choose if you want a private or public accommodation. I personally chose the public accommodation because it was cheaper, which means me and a person I do not know, because I was going solo, we're going to share a room. There are two options for rooms. You're going to stay at the Harbor Club Inn by Hilton, or you're going to stay at Buena Vista Apartments. I highly recommend the Harbor Club Inn by Hilton because the Hilton is very nice. You're across the streets from restaurant, a laundry facility, and up the street from a market as well as an ATM. The Hilton has 6 floors. They include a spa, a hot tub, a pool bar, a pool. You have views of the ocean, and every day from 5 to 6 there is a happy hour on the rooftop where you can enjoy the view, a free cocktail, and some appetizers. There's also lots of restaurants and a couple of souvenir shops within the Hilton. Just keep in mind that the amenities such as the drinks, the food, the spa are not included with the Hilton stay, like the Hilton price that you stay for. Breakfast also is not included on this trip. None of the meals are included on this trip. I would not suggest the Buena Vista Apartments because the ladies that stayed there had some negative reviews on there. Basically, their apartments were in the middle of, I want to say, the hood, down a non-paved road, and they were not within walking distance of any type of food or stores or anything. So them getting food and water to their apartments was a bit more challenging than everyone else's. Along with, if they wanted to take an Uber or a taxi outside of the bus ride back to their apartments, their Uber or taxi would often get lost because the street that they stayed on, there's another street that had the same name, and it just caused a whole bunch of confusion. The Hilton is easier to find and is a lot cleaner. The Hilton bedroom that I stayed in was a 2 double bed bedroom. Like I said, I had one side and I had a roommate that had the other side, and each room comes with a balcony view of the city and or the water / pool area. So overall, I recommend that. So like I said, when you create your account, you're going to pick your costume. You're going to pick if you're getting your backpack. Your backpack is your feathers. And then you're going to pick your private or public stay. Then they're going to ask you if you want to stay for the full event or if you want to come a day later. Due to finances, I came a day later, so the full event took place from the 16th to the 22nd. I chose the 17th to the 22nd, so there is a price difference there. I thought the price difference was to accommodate the fact that we were not going to two events. But I think the price difference just accommodates for the fact that we're not staying in the hotel an extra day, because I still receive tickets to all events. I do wish that the ticket prices for events that I was not going to was also taken out of the price, but it was not. We received tickets to all events no matter what day we showed up for, even though the company knew that we were not going to make it to 2 events. That is what happened on 8 June. There are 3 payment options. I don't really remember what the other 2 were. I think one was pay in full. The other one divided your payment into 3s. I chose the option where I put down 20% of my payment at first, and then you pay on whatever schedule you feel like paying up until 15 May of 2026. That is when your final payment is due. So I did that for myself. The initial payment I had put down was $748.37. And I paid $150 each paycheck up until May 15th. So the total package for what I paid for the stay at the Hilton, shared a room experience, no meals, no drinks, backline costume. I thought I was getting feathers, but I did not. You get transportation to and from the airport. You get transportation to and from every event. You get tickets for every event. You get makeup on Monday of Carnival, and you get a professional photo shoot of Monday Carnival. This came out to a total of $3,740. You're not going to hear anything via email for a really long time. The next time I got an email was on the 23rd of February in 2026. This is when I got an email from Roger, who is, I believe, the owner of SOCA Islands, where he said it is time to pick our costume. And then he also states that we can jump with the band, or we can jump with a different band, and he sent us the Zuvo website to pick our costume. So if you don't know anything about Carnival like I did, basically each carnival has different bands, and these bands each have multiple costumes and a storyline that they tell with their costumes. So the band that I was with was Zuvo, but there's also bands like Just for Fun and Legends. Under Zuvo had at least 6 or 7 costume options, such as the Wedding, Radiance, Eden, Enchanted, Chaos, etc. So each band has different types of costumes under their band, and they go to Carnival and they perform on stage and show off their costumes and pretty much compete for a first, second, or third place slot in front of the judges. So just something to know. I went to the Zuvo website. It didn't really say in the email how to pick your costume, so I took a screenshot of the 2 that I wanted. The first option that I wanted was the Wedding, and the second option I wanted was Radiance. I then sent those screenshots back to Roger via email. I did not say this is my number 1, this is my number 2, but if you feel strongly about which one you want for number 1 versus number 2, I would specify that in the email back. I was okay with either costume, and I ended up getting the Wedding. In the email, it does say if you want to jump with another band, please let Roger know how you would go about ordering costumes and participating with another band. I am not sure how that logistically would have even worked, but if you're a pro at this and you want to just go ahead and jump with another band, just let him know. That way you'll be off on your own. In the email, it does say if you did not choose a costume back when you booked your initial booking, now is the time to add it on if you want to. And if you choose not to, this will probably be the last time that you are able to. After I sent this email back, I never received an email back for confirmation on which outfit that I got. I was waiting to hear back to see, hey, you got this, you're gonna be wearing this. It was kind of hard to line up things like toenail color, fingernail color, because I did not know what color my costume was going to be. I actually did not find out which costume I got until the Friday I arrived and received my package, along with me and a couple other ladies. You're probably asking why I didn't ask these questions. At the time, I had been so busy with life and work that I was kind of overwhelmed, and I had already asked Roger a million questions via WhatsApp about other stuff that I completely forgot to ask which Carnival costume I got. I emailed back 2 days after then saying what I wanted, and then the next email I received is on 29 June of 2026. This email is going to have a lot of instructions, so just try to digest it the best you can. I'm going to reference my notes so that way I know what exactly all was in there. First and foremost, there are going to be pre-arrival instructions. Your pre-arrival instructions are going to have a Google form that you need to fill out regarding when your flight lands, who you're flying with, your flight number, your emergency contact, when you're leaving, which airport you're flying out of, when you need to be picked up, etc. Something that I think could have been added in the pre-arrival instructions is just a reminder to fill out a customs form. I did not know I needed a customs form. I just wasn't thinking of it when I got there. And I end up having to standing off to the side and fill out a customs form on my cell phone, which then delayed my start in the long hour to hour 15 wait to get through customs. So please do your customs form before you arrive to St. Lucia. It's gonna save you like 30 minutes to an hour, I promise you. Also inside this email, it's gonna be health and wellness tips in regards to sunscreen, hydration, stretching, taking care of your body and things, and tips for Carnival overall while you are there. Next is going to be information, phone numbers, emergency contacts, things of that nature in regards to your stay at the Harbor Club and your stay at Buena Vista Apartments. After then, you will find your itinerary link. It is a Google Drive link that has a laid out itinerary of time frames that you'll be picked up, dropped off, themes for each event, which I did not read. Shout out to the Louisiana education system. I did not read a lot of things. It's gonna have your themes. It's gonna have Instagram links so you can reference what to wear. It kind of talks more about the events. Also in this email, you're going to get an explanation of how tickets will be distributed. Tickets will be distributed via Google Drive. My advice would be that you either download or screenshot all the barcodes/tickets. Once again, I did receive tickets for events that I knew I was not going to be at, which I wish they didn't pay for that, but you are going to receive your tickets from there. In the email as well, they're going to talk about costume distribution, how costumes will be distributed on Friday once everyone arrives. After then, it's going to give you tips and tricks for each venue. So each venue to each event, they're going to tell you, hey, this event is on a boat, this event is in the grass, this event is outside, this event is during the day, you can bring your own bottle, there will be food for sale. They're going to give you all of that. It's going to talk about transportation, how your driver operates when it comes to pickups and drop-offs. It's then going to talk about how meals are not included in any of this. They're going to ask for an emergency contact form that you fill out via Google. They're going to talk about cash and how the US dollar switches over to the Caribbean dollar. They talk about eSIM regarding your cell phone. And last but not least, he sends a bunch of YouTube links to different type of music mixes in the SOCA, SOCA world. So long email, it's going to take a lot to digest, but just keep that in mind. In the same breath, I got a second email that day where it says, hey, if you want to keep up with everyone, this is the WhatsApp link. We suggest that you join WhatsApp. So I joined WhatsApp and there were about 30 members, and one being Roger, of course. So the next email that I received was about a few days before arrival, which was the 13th of July, where I got an email saying, hey, here's my roommate, her name is this. Here's a WhatsApp link that you guys need to join. It's going to lay out roommate expectations and the do's and don'ts, essentially. So once we're in the WhatsApp chat, we just briefly introduce yourself. Hi, I'm so-and-so. This is my age. This is where I'm from. And that is it. They did apologize for that email going out so late. So now we actually get into day one of St. Lucia. I originally had a flight leaving from San Antonio to Miami to UVF. However, my San Antonio flight was delayed 2 hours, causing me to miss my Miami connection, and stupid American Airlines rebooked me to leave out of Miami on Saturday instead of Friday. In a panic mode, I contacted American Airlines and had them reroute me to fly out of Austin at 5 a.m. Once again, I really do hate American Airlines because I got this notification at 9 p.m. the night before my flight, which means I had to wake up at 1:30 a.m. to drive to Austin, magically find parking, and fly out by 5. I did make my connecting in Miami. When I landed in Miami, I then messaged Roger and said, hey, my flight got changed. I'm going to be delayed an hour. Please let the driver know. So he was able to communicate that well, which was really good. And I was able to make it to St. Lucia. Upon landing in St. Lucia, the weather is warm this time of year, of course, and a nice intro to the airport with a live band playing. But the airport is chaotic. Have your customs form ready and hop in line immediately. If you don't have your electronic customs form filled out, hurry up, connect to the internet, and fill it out while you're in line. I made the mistake of stepping off to the side because the lady told me to do that to fill out my form, and literally 100+ people got in line in front of me. While I was waiting in line, I was messaging people in the chat. They said they had landed, I had landed, they would wait on me. I did not realize after the customs line, you have to go through the line to declare or not declare something. Then the line to declare or not declare took another 30 to 40 minutes to get through. It was to the point where once I was 2 or 3 people back from getting through the line to not declare anything, that the girls were asking me in the chat if I'm almost ready. The driver may have to leave me and I may have to get picked up with the next set of girls. I refused to do that and told them I'm literally next in line. Please give me like 5-10 minutes, and they were able to wait on me. Roger, a day before you land, does put in the chat how to find the SOCA Islands bus. According to the girls that landed before me, they said that that was a little bit confusing. So I just followed their instructions and just kept walking straight. And eventually I did see a group of girls with a driver that said SOCA Islands on it. And then off we started for our 1.5-hour drive to the hotel, since it is on the other side of the island. If you're like me and you get motion sickness very easily, you want to make sure you're extremely tired, and make sure while you're in the line to declare at least 30 minutes to an hour before that you pop 2 Dramamine pills, because the drive there is going to make you feel very sick. Although all the girls were very nice and trying to get to know each other on the bus, I did let them know that me and even a couple other girls, we do get motion sick, so I wasn't going to be as talkative, unfortunately, during that ride. Our driver, Smalley, was very nice. He was our driver the whole time. We left the airport around 4:30 and we got to the hotel around 6 o'clock. Okay, so before I get into what happened when we got to the hotel, I do want to rewind it for the people that are going to show up a day early on the 16th. They did have an activity called Bliss. It says dress in white sexy chic, and it had an 8 p.m. pickup. So basically there are no meals included in this, but it did say drink inclusive. But once again, I did have a ticket for this event, although the company knew I was not landing till Friday. So I do think I could have gotten my money back for that event specifically. A second event that I was unable to attend that happened Friday morning was called Bad, and that's breakfast at dawn. The dress code was summer sexy / chic. That is also another ticket that I had in my Google Drive that I did not need, since I told Roger that my flight was landing at 1 p.m., 1:50 p.m. This event started at 7 a.m. and their projected return to the hotel was at 12. So the event that we did make it to was SOCA. So this projected pickup from the hotel and from the apartments was 5 p.m. Now I told you we got picked up from the airport at 4:30. So in the WhatsApp chat, I can see they pushed the pickup back to 5 o'clock. Then they pushed the pickup back to 6 o'clock. And then eventually they pushed the pickup back to 7:15 to accommodate to all of us that were there. When we got to the hotel at 6 o'clock. The first thing we did was drop off bags, and me and the girls were hungry. So I met with one of the ladies, and me and her walked across the street to get some food. Once again, across from the Hilton, there's a bunch of food shops. So we went and got some dinner there. So for SOCA Fest specifically, on your itinerary, there's going to be an Instagram link to show you where their Instagram is and what type of clothes to wear. The dress code said masquerade or burlesque / carnival fashion. Their masquerade and burlesque is not like the typical American masquerade or burlesque, so please keep that in mind. I obviously didn't read the dress code beforehand, so I had a regular nice casual pink dress and some pink sandals to go with it. They also tell you the location of all the events, which was at the Gross Islet Mini Stadium. So we ended up leaving around 7:15. Obviously that time frame kind of hit or miss because they have to go to the apartments and pick us up, but they will message you in WhatsApp when they're on the way. Just keep in mind that all the timelines that I'm stating are going to be delayed significantly. Caribbeans are just never on time. I think black people as a whole are just never on time, but it is what it is. Before pickup, the most important piece about this is the Carnival costume pickup. We got a message in the chat maybe 30 minutes before 7:15 saying Carnival costumes will be ready to pick up in room 601 at the Hilton before we leave for SOCA Fest. And those that are at the apartments, they will leave the Carnival costumes at their door. I don't know much about how the apartments operate. I don't know about trusting to leave the costumes out at the door, but I was ready to go pick up my costume at room 601. 7:15 hit. The driver was still not ready to pick us up, but the costumes were available. So me and another lady were the first ones there to get our costumes. Everyone had a Zuvo box with their name on it, which came with the costume and the Tuesday wear in there. Then we all got a blue bag for Mess Fit, which I did not know was included. And then we got a Zuvo orange bag, which had a whole bunch of goodies in there. And I'll go through each of those as we approach the event. As for wings, once again, me and a lot of the other girls were under the impression that we all got wings. There were wings on one of the beds in the hotel room. Roger had said that we will distribute wings at a later time because we all have to get ready to go to SOCA Fest. So in my mind, I had wings. In my mind, the other girls had wings because Roger said we're going to distribute those later, right? Cool. We'll circle back to that. So anyway, I took my box, my orange Zuvo bag, and my blue Mesfet bag, threw them in my room, hopped on the bus, and we all went to SOCA Fest. SOCA Fest is going to take your QR code and scan it. You do not get a wristband for this event. You go inside. It is on a grassy open area. It did kind of sprinkle a little bit while we're out there, but for the most part, it was a little warm and windy. Drinks and food are not included at this event. They do have food vendors and drink vendors. Now, my thing for this whole trip was to not take out any cash at all. I did not want to pay for anything in cash. They do take American dollars. I just don't like carrying cash. So my goal was just to use my card the whole time. So I went up to a drink vendor. I said, hey, do you take card? They said, yes. I bought my drink. I had to provide my own cup, which I think was odd. I guess there was like plastic cups I can get from somewhere. Then when I tried to pay in card, they had one machine for all the 6 different bartenders, and then the machine stopped working. So then she was like, do you have cash? And I'm like, no, you said you take card. So I had to wait a few minutes for them to get the card machine back online and get a new card machine. But just keep in mind, if you are going to do card only, you could possibly make your life a little bit more difficult. I was just willing to take that risk for the sake of not carrying cash. That's how bad I didn't want to carry cash. We did get a free cute little SOCA Fest cup at the event, and they do have opportunities, photo opportunities with a backdrop if you do want to do that. There was a DJ on stage. They're playing lots of music. A live band even played some music as well. And there were performers there. After after a couple hours or a few hours, basically our bus driver had told us before we left that once we are done with SOCA Fete, we can walk down to the street party, which was down the street and around the corner. So that's what we did. I made sure to stay close to everyone at all times because I was a solo traveler. And also when I go out the country, I do not turn on my data. I only use Wi-Fi. So it's very important you stay near someone with their data on because they are going to have communication and connection to the bus. You can turn your data on if you want to. I just didn't want to get charged extra fees, whatever. So I left with the group and you guys are going to get separated. It is very normal. The street party it reminds me drastically of Bourbon Street, New Orleans during Mardi Gras season. And not just because of how packed it is, but also just the layout of the street. Like the buildings look very French-esque. And it makes sense because St. Lucians speak French Creole. They're part of French colony. Well, they were at one point, just like New Orleans was. So New Orleans and St. Lucia share culture there, but it's going to be packed. You are going to be shoulder to shoulder. You're going to be walking past people and moving and like clutching your purse near you and all that. They do sell food. There are food vendors, there are drink vendors, and I'm sure they were all cash only. So just keep that in mind. There are vendors as well walking around, so just keep that in mind too. It got very hot very quick because you are shoulder to shoulder with people in the middle of the street. After a couple hours, a couple of the girls wanted to go get food, and because I was getting hot very fast, I went with them out of the crowd to wait in line. Please keep in mind you'll be waiting in line for food for at least anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour depending on where you're at. Eventually in the WhatsApp chat they said here's the pin drop to the bus location and we are leaving at 12 o'clock. So we made sure to start heading back. We made it to the bus by 12:01 and then we end up leaving by like 12:10, and that is the end of day 1. Bleeding into day 2, we are about to take a nap and get ready for Mess Fete. Today's itinerary includes Mess Fete and Raft Up. So like I said, we got back to the hotel around 12:30 or 1 o'clock. You're going to take a quick either shower and or nap because the projected pickup for Mess Fete is 3 a.m. Now, did we get picked up at 3 a.m.? No, we actually got picked up around 4 a.m., 4:15 a.m. And like I said, I did not know that a Mess Fete outfit was already provided for us. Please feel free to bring a backup. But basically, if you don't know what Mess Fete is, you're going to get messy. You're going to want to bring clothes and shoes that you're going to be okay with throwing away and things of that nature. So in the blue Mess Fete bag, you got a free water bottle, you got a shower cap, you got a scarf, and you got a swimsuit. Once again, I didn't do my reading on this, so I did not know the theme was blue. I had bought my own Amazon 2-piece workout gear that was burgundy, and I just bought some old Adidas tennis shoes that I was okay with throwing away. But instead of that, I saved that outfit for later. I kept the shoes and I put on, I put on some socks that I was okay with throwing away. But I put on the swimsuit, a little cover up, and then on my head, I brought my own black scarf to cover my hair. I did not put on the shower cap because I didn't really care about my hair getting wet or a mess. I just planned on washing it later. But if you don't want your hair to get wet, put on that shower cap because it's going to get wet. It says the dress code was summer casual blue. Wear clothing that you are okay with discarding after this. Mess Fete was crazy. So basically, we got dropped off in this KFC parking lot and we rode in this truck down this dark road for about 5 minutes, and they dropped us off like in the middle of the woods. Mind you, it's pitch black outside. Also in the KFC bag, it came like some little goat horns or devil horns. I don't really know. I didn't wear them, but they light up. And the goat that's on our stuff was basically the energy drink called Quick Head. They sponsored this fete, so their symbol is all over everything. I wasn't really a fan of it, which is why I threw it away after I was done, but whatever. You go out there, it's pitch black. All you see is blue lights. There's a stage set up. They're playing music, and you just kind of get in there. Once again, drinks were not included at this venue. They were only for sale. Food was also not included. It was for sale out there. You kind of just walk up into the mix of people. That's where the mess starts. So there are bags of colored paint, blue colored paint. People are spraying everyone with them. You can get sprayed for standing there. You can get sprayed for dancing. There is a water hose being sprayed across the whole venue on top of everyone. And basically, you're just dancing and getting sprayed and wet the whole time. Your shoes are going to be soaked. You're going to be soaked whether you want to or not, unless you're literally standing in the back out the way. And they're just going to keep doing that for hours. And this is projected to go on until 9 a.m. We did not stay the whole time. So basically they're spraying, it's getting wet. Some people pour powder on you. I got like orange and purple powder thrown on me, which was fine. And people are going to be dancing and moving, and eventually there's going to be so much water that it creates mud on the ground. And there's so much trash and mud and old bottles and cans on the ground that it actually kind of gets disgusting and a little bit overwhelming. People are going to be walking around barefoot and everything, but it's going to be a muddy mess. It's going to be wet and everything. So after a while, we were ready to go. I mean, we had been out there since 4:45. The sun was starting to come up. We were like, okay, this event lasts until 9. No. I rounded up half the crew. The other half wanted to stay, and we end up taking the truck back to the KFC parking lot. And our bus told us to walk like 5 minutes down the street and they'd be parked there. Well, our bus was not parked where they said they were going to park, because the bus only does one drop off and one pickup. This became a continuous problem throughout the whole entire trip, because not everyone wants to stay 4, 5, 6, or 7 hours at these events. However, you have to wait on everyone to leave. What we did is we called an Uber. I know if you're watching videos for St. Lucia, they're going to say that St. Lucia doesn't have any like Uber type of apps, but they do take Uber. And there is this app called Tropicab that I use later on. Now keep in mind, your card may not take for Uber, because the girl that ordered it was able to order the Uber, but at the end the card payment did not go through, so she had to go to the ATM and pay him in cash. I, however, use Uber and it took my card just fine. So just keep that in mind. If you are trying to get around without the bus, you may need cash, or you have to chance it with Uber that doesn't run necessarily over the whole island. So we took an Uber back. We got back early around 7:30, and a few of the girls decided to go get some breakfast, which we thought was lunch because we'd had no sleep. So we went across the street from the Hilton. We ate, we caught up. We were able to go back to the hotel and shower before everybody else came back, which was good because my roommate was still out. I had time to shower. I didn't feel rushed. I was able to take a short nap before our next event. I do want to go back and say, on the itinerary, it says drinks are included with the mess fete ticket. I don't remember that. If it was an option, it wasn't made clear. And I'm not sure where we were supposed to go to get that. I don't even know how we were supposed to indicate that we got free drinks, but I did want to clarify that. I don't know if I had time for lunch or not. The next event was the SOCA Raft Up. So the dress code was summer beach and green. That was our dress code. That's not everyone's dress code. The overall theme was wild card. So basically, there's going to be 5 different boats, and each boat has their own color. There was a boat with black, with red, with yellow, with blue, and with green. We were on the green boat. Once again, I did not read that before I went, but coincidentally, my 2-piece swimsuit was green, and then I just wore a nice little cute white cover up. So that's kind of what you're going to be wearing, because it's pretty much a boat party. Drinks and food, once again, are not included on this event. They do have a food vendor outside the gate, and they have a drink vendor inside the gate, but this is a bring your own bottle event. The only thing that is included is the cooler that you may use to store your drinks. We did get a cute little raft up cup. That cup never made it home with me. I don't even know when I lost it, but it is what it is. So everyone boards your boat, and pretty much you have to be there on time or else the boat's gonna leave. On time for Caribbean people literally means like an hour later. So we were projected to leave for 2 p.m. I don't remember what time we actually left, but I know it was later than 2. And once we got there, the boats did sit there for at least a good 30 minutes before we left. So the boat's untied from the pier and you set sail. You're going to be on this boat for an hour. So once again, my motion sickness peeps, you want to take a couple Dramamine upon arrival or before you get there. You do get a green wristband for this event too when you get your cup. So the boat sets sail and you're going to be setting sail for an hour out to a private beach. When you pull up to this private beach, there are going to be people there, like the locals. There's going to be local kids, local people, but they assist with the boat. They help tie the boats up, etc. And then when you park, they're going to tie all 5 boats together and tie them to shore. At this point, everyone from all the boats are able to mix and mingle with people from other boats. You are able to get out and get in the ocean. There's a guy on a boat that's selling fruits and coconuts. You can go talk to the locals. I really think overall it was a really great event, especially the mix and mingle part. Please keep in mind that every single event you're at, they're going to be professional photographers. So if you are dancing or mingling or in the mix, you'll more than likely have a photo taken of you. And if you don't like that, just try to stay off to the side. But there are professional photographers in all of this. And each boat has their own music going too. We stayed out on the private beach for, I want to say, for about an hour or so. And then the DJ starts singing like, it's time to get back to your boat. Da, da, da. It is time to get back to your boat. Bo, bo, bo. If you are red, get on red. If you are green, get on green. It is time to get back to your boat. So they sing that for like 30 minutes. It takes forever because everyone's just in the water. So anyway, basically you're supposed to start going back to the boat that you came on. And honestly, at the end of the day, if you're on the wrong boat, who cares? Because it's all going back to the same place. And then you're doing a sunset sail back, an hour back to shore, and by the time you make it back, it is dark at that point. We got back to shore maybe around 8:30, 9 o'clock, and then we went straight to the hotel, and that was it for the night. I got me a pizza from the Hilton, and then I had to change my flight back at me landing in San Antonio, because since I was supposed to leave out of San Antonio, and I had to change it back to Austin. So I just kind of spent my night doing that. People hang out longer or not. I was just so tired because I had not had any sleep. When you land, whenever you have time, I suggest you highly go to the market and get you a case of water, because me trying to find water this whole trip, no, I'm still dehydrated. I'm trying to catch up now, but like my first time having like a whole bunch of water was when I got my pizza that night. I just drunk like 4 glasses of water when I was eating at the restaurant. So you definitely want to get some water. There's water in the hotel rooms. Keep that in mind. And then when we were out partying and things like that, usually people would just offer you alcohol. So if you do, I didn't even drink really that much because I was so dehydrated. I was scared that I was going to pass out. You have to hydrate yourself and you have to create times to eat. So like I said, I don't think I ate lunch. I had only ate dinner that day and didn't even have breakfast. But that is the wrap up of that day. So now we are on Sunday. Today is more of a chill day. There are people that have been on this tour before, so they went to go do their own thing. Maybe they went to another fete or something like that. But for everyone else that had never been to St. Lucia or been on the island, I did appreciate this part of the tour. It was a land and sea tour. Basically, our driver took us to see some views, see the sights. We were able to stop at local little stores, a little markets, buy some souvenirs, and just do things of that. He took us through the city, gave us some history about St. Lucia and the background. And like I said, I really appreciate it. I did think the tour was a little long, in my opinion, but it's because we had to drive so far to get to where we were going. Once again, I did not read and did not realize we would be on a boat. But after we did the tour of the top of the mountain, essentially, we went down to the sea and we took a boat ride, a short boat ride, maybe about 10-15 minutes, to a private beach where they provided free drinks, which is rum punch, and we were on a private beach next to the Sandals Resort. We stayed on that beach for about 30 minutes, and then we did a 15-minute boat ride back. And then from there, we went to the mud bath, the volcanic mud bath, where you could do the white mud and then you could do the black mud, and then you can sit in the spring. Now the water is hot. It's like 100 degrees. So just keep that in mind. The outfit for this day for me was a swimsuit, and I had a white cover up and then a black cover up for my bottoms. You are going to want to bring a towel. If you're like me and you pack light, you can just rent a beach towel from the Hilton hotel. And if you came from the apartments and you don't have an extra towel, you can go in the Hilton and ask to rent one, or ask someone from the Hilton to rent one for you. So that's how that went. After the volcanic stop, there was one more stop at the waterfall. For this one, I didn't really feel like getting in the waterfall, but they said it was cute. All I did was change clothes into my dry clothes. So you do want to bring in your bag, which I didn't have a bag to carry, so I used my MessFet bag from the previous day. Is you want to bring a change of clothes and a towel, and maybe like your camera, waterproof phone case or something like that. That was pretty much the land and sea tour. I thought it was really cute. We got back around 4 p.m. and then they have another event called Brazen. That pickup was supposed to be at 5 p.m. Obviously that pickup got pushed back because we got back at like 4:30 really, so we needed more time to get ready. This unfortunately was the first event that I did skip of the whole tour because I was just extremely exhausted. I was dehydrated, I was hungry, and I just really needed a rest. And not only that, I feel like I needed to rest because the next day is Carnival Monday, and that is supposed to take all of my energy. And I knew if I went to Brazen that night that they probably weren't going to get back until after midnight, and I would just be tired and disgruntled on Monday. So I did not go to Brazen, but I will kind of read about it and touch on it real quick. The dress code for Brazen was summer casual, and it says some women will wear swimsuits with cover up or wraps, so something cute like that. And then, like I said, I think there's an Instagram link to the Brazen event. It says this is a bring your own drinks event. SOCA Islands will provide the cooler for you to pack your favorite beverage with. I do want to rewind to the land and sea tour and say that lunch was included. This is the only meal that was included on the whole tour, was the lunch during the land and sea tour. But that is it. I did have a nice cute orange dress for Brazen, but once again I just saved it for another day because there was no way I was gonna make it. And I was actually correct. The people that went out to Brazen did not get back till 12:30 or 1 o'clock in the morning. The feedback though that I got is that Brazen is the best event out of the whole week. Brazen was the best event to go to, and I heard that from multiple people, both from the hotel and the apartment. So if you do want to go to something that was a little bit better than the other events, I suggest going to Brazen. However, on the way back from the land and sea tour, me and two other ladies that I became good friends with were talking to Roger while we were on the bus. He was discussing with us, he casually mentioned in conversation something makeup appointments, and we said, oh, we're getting makeup done. Maybe that's something I read past, but I don't remember makeup being an option or included in the package when I originally booked it. He said, yeah, y'all are getting makeup done, and typically since the makeup artists are so busy here, they start makeup anywhere from 2 a.m. to 10 a.m. Another reason why I wasn't going to Brazen, me and the two ladies, we didn't want to be anywhere in the mix where we would be close to missing Carnival start. Apparently, we were supposed to be at Carnival at 10 a.m. sharp because that's when the parade started. But if we had to get makeup and professional photos done, we just decided it was the best that we get put down for the 2 a.m. makeup appointment. So that is another reason why we skipped Brazen. I ended up going to the girls' room that night, and we tried on our Carnival costume before the morning of. I highly suggest that you do the same thing. So at this point, both on Saturday and Sunday, people were asking for their wings. Roger was saying they could come by on Sunday and figure it out and things of that nature. Sunday, when we're talking to Roger about the makeup, is when we figure out that we don't have wings. I then explained that the backline outfit that I chose on the Zuvo website says small backpack included. He said that if we did not add the option to add a backpack on the SOCA Islands website, that we did not get wings. I said, and the other girl said, why would I have to add on a backpack when the website said it comes with the backpack? Why would I have to make that in addition to that? So that was the beginning of a long discussion. Going back, so we set our makeup time for 2 a.m. and he said that we need to be ready in the lobby of the hotel by 1:45 because it is a 5-minute drive away and we have to be there 10 minutes early, and the makeup girlies do not play. Tried on our Carnival outfit with the girls in the room. There's not any how-to instructions for this. I think one girl just happened to find an Instagram video of how to put hers on, and from there we were able to figure out how to put ours on. There were how-to videos of how to get dressed in your Carnival costume, but they weren't posted until Monday morning when we were already at Carnival. So it wasn't really helpful at all. There are a million pieces and you will be unable to move once this is on, and you will possibly need a friend to do it for you. Okay, y'all, so lock in with me for Monday because it's going to be a roller coaster ride. Like I said, I went to sleep Sunday night around 10 because we were taking, it took us like an hour or two to get these costumes on, and then we had to be up and ready to go in the lobby at 1:45 for makeup. So I was ready by 1:35. Roger had messaged me, said I'm downstairs, and then I made my way. So it was me, one of the girls from yesterday, and two more girls. One of the girls from yesterday decided not to go because she said she'd rather get her sleep, and she did her own makeup. So something that I will say moving forward for SOCA Islands, I wish they would ask when you book the package if you want makeup or not. That way they can take that out of your price if you're not getting it done. I definitely would have still voted to have makeup. However, I just didn't know it was included. And for the people that didn't get their makeup done, they could have saved like $200 or $300. And yes, makeup is that expensive for Carnival Monday. It can go up to $400, $500 for makeup. So I'm assuming the makeup that we got was either like $150 to $200 or $200 to $250. I don't know. So at 1:45, we start making our way to a different resort / hotel area where it looks like a conference room or something has been rented out. And basically there is a company of girls. This is from what I learned. There's a company of top makeup artists in the Caribbean area that kind of compete for a slot on this team, and they go around doing carnival makeup for the different carnivals. So we get there, and when you get there, there's a table to check in. I tried checking in first. She asked for my first and last name, and she says she does not see my name. And I'm like, well, Roger just told me last night that I needed to be here for 2 a.m. And she's like, I don't see your name. Do you have your ID? Thankfully, I had my passport with me. I gave her my passport, and she says, oh, you are down for 10 a.m. And I'm like, why would I be down for 10 a.m. when I just told Roger last night I would be at the 2 a.m. and he just dropped me off? There was confusion there, and I was like, well, the other girl didn't come, so just put me down as her name because I'm here right now and I'm not coming back at 10 a.m. because according to the text message and WhatsApp, we're supposed to be at the parade at 10 a.m. sharp. According to the itinerary, it says we're supposed to be leaving the hotel at 10:30. So I really didn't know which one was the real time, but I did know I was there at 2 a.m. on minimal sleep. So she decided to just put me down for the 2 a.m. and I hopped in the ladies' chair. Like I said, there are going to be makeup artists all along the wall, at least 10 to 15 of them, and you just sit in someone's chair. I knew from looking at my makeup artist that my makeup was going to be fire because her makeup was fire. And she asked me what type of makeup that I want. I told her I had no preference because I want a baby girl to do her thing, and she did. She ate. I had the gems, I had the everything. You have the lashes, the full face, and basically from 2 to 3 a.m. she took an hour to do my face. So at the end of my appointment, I can hear more girls from my group coming in and another girl going through the same thing as me, which is they didn't have her down for 3 a.m. They had her for 10, but they will take her now. So there seemed to be confusion between Roger and how he booked the makeup artist. When Roger came to pick us up, I was like, Roger, why did you have me down for 10 a.m.? And he was like, I didn't tell them to put a first and last name down in any of the bookings. I told them to put you down as SOCA Island 1, SOCA Island 2, SOCA Island 3. But in my mind, why would they ask for my first and last name if they didn't have names to put down? So I just think there's some type of miscommunication there that could have been communicated better, and thankfully the girls were able to take me at 2 a.m. I then went back to my hotel at 3, and then I took a nap like a mummy on my back for a few hours. Roger had told us before we go to sleep to be ready at 9 o'clock for photography. So my plan was to wake up at 7 to put on my outfit. Thankfully, I happened to roll over around 6:15, and that time had changed. The photographer was going to be ready for the males at 8 o'clock and was going to be ready for the females at 8:45 a.m. So at 6:15, I hopped up and I started putting on my costume immediately. My roommate, however, was still asleep because her makeup appointment was not scheduled until 10 o'clock. Now, you're probably wondering, if your makeup's scheduled for 10 and it takes an hour and the bus pickup is at 10 or 10:30, what does that mean? That means you possibly may not have time for photos and you're going to get dropped off late to the parade, which I think is crazy. Keep that in mind. She did get ready a little bit later. And then there was an issue regarding wristbands. I'm not going to get into the details, but I will say when you open your Carnival costume box, make sure your Zuvo wristband is in there. If it's not, you need to let Roger know immediately that you did not get a wristband. You need to check that on Friday, because he said the morning of Carnival, if you don't have a wristband, you are not participating, whether you had it and lost it or not. So make sure you have your wristband. Your wristband is going to allow you to get a free snack, free water and drinks, and free lunch on both Monday and Tuesday, and I'll get into that shortly. So after I was spending an hour getting ready, I took some pictures, I put on my headpiece, then we went down for photographs. I do want to pause and just rewind for a bit, because when we got dropped off from makeup back to the hotel, one of the girls did discover that she did not get wings, and this is where the discussion came to play about what was booked between the Zuvo website and Roger's website. So basically last year on Zuvo website, you had to order your front line, back line, or midline, and you had to add your feathered backpack as an add-on. This year, Zuvo changed their website to where the feathered backpack is included in whichever option that you pick. Roger's website was still set up based on last year's Zuvo website, to where you had to add on a backpack instead of it being included. So when me and the girls picked out our outfits, looking at the Zuvo website, I picked backline, she picked frontline, and they all say including small, medium, or large feathered backpacks. His website did not have that. It had an option to where you had to request it as an add-on, which most of us obviously did not see or know, because we were under the impression that they all came with backpacks. So almost half the girls did not have wings as promised, and let's just say the morning we got dropped off for makeup, there was not a great discussion between some of the girls and Roger regarding the feathers that they were missing. They and myself felt like we were owed money because there was a misunderstanding. He was saying that if we would have notified him earlier, that maybe he could have done something to fix it. But in our defense back, we couldn't have notified him earlier because Friday he didn't issue wings, and Saturday and Sunday he did not have time to get wings. He just claimed that the wings were there. One of the girls that I was with did not receive wings, and she did add it as an add-on, and she got the wrong costume, and they messed up her makeup. So it's just a series of unfortunate events for her specifically. Eventually, I just learned to let the wings go, because in my mind, I'm probably going to get tired of wearing them, which you are. If you don't walk regularly with a weighted vest on, start doing that now, because those wings are anywhere from 5 to 20 pounds that you're going to be carrying for the whole 7 to 8 mile stretch. And I know some of y'all are going to say it's not 7 to 8 miles. We actually timed it and recorded the distance, so I don't want to hear that. But yeah, so it wasn't a pleasant conversation when pretty much Roger discovered that his website and the Zuvo website did not align. He did take responsibility in person that morning, him and Zuvo, pretty much saying how they weren't aligned. But then later on with a couple other ladies, he was kind of ducking and dodging responsibility a little bit when it came to some other girls bringing that up later. So it did cause friction within the group from some girls to Roger. Outside of your costume in the Zuvo box and the mess vet bag we got earlier, we got an orange Zuvo bag, and in that was a bunch of their merch. So they had a Zuvo bag, they had a sling cup holder, which will come in handy. Bring it to Carnival, it is a requirement. They give you a cup and a metal straw. That is also a requirement to bring to Carnival. You have your wristband, which came in your Zuvo box. And then Zuvo has a bunch of merch like a notebook. They have a hat. They have shades. They have socks. They just have all types of little things. They had snacks. They had pads. They had everything pretty much you needed for the road. I did not bring that orange duffel bag with me. I just brought my cup sling, which had a little pocket for my wallet and my room key. And then also in the Zuvo bag, they had a handheld fan, but I had my own, so I brought my own, and I brought my phone. So literally my fan, my phone, my cup sling, my wallet, and my room key were all on me, and that's all I had for the day. We went downstairs at 8:45 for photos. We were able to knock those out. I was told at some point that some of the girls felt rushed for their photos, and they felt like the photographer was impatient. agent, but I guess since we were at the beginning, he was cool with us. So I don't really know. There was more communication unfolding as we were doing this. So apparently the people at the apartments got picked up and dropped off at the hotel with us so they can get their photos done. No one at the hotel knew that the apartment people were there. So when all the hotel girls were done taking their photos, we all got on the bus. Girls and guys, we all got on the bus, and the driver's like, is this everyone? And I'm like, this is everyone from the hotel. And he leaves the apartment people behind at the hotel. And this was a miscommunication between the driver and Roger. So then Roger had to coordinate how the apartment people were going to get to the parade, because we were told we were supposed to leave the hotel at 9 a.m. sharp and get to the parade at 10 a.m. sharp, because the carnival will start and they will leave us. We didn't leave the hotel until 10:30, like the itinerary had said. So in my mind, I'm like, are we late? But I'm like, we haven't been late to anything so far, so it's whatever. But at this point, the driver's turning around. He's like, I need to go back to the hotel and get the apartment people. And then he turned around again. He's like, oh, Roger's gonna get them. It was a whole bunch of miscommunication between them, and the apartment people were pissed. When I finally caught up with them later, they were very upset. They said they felt rushed with the photos. One girl didn't get photos, and then they got left at the hotel, and then they were late, and then they couldn't find us at the parade. So it was just like, communication got to be better for sure. So anyway, we get to the parade. There's a bunch of traffic, and then we get stuck in traffic. So Smalley just dropped us off, and he was like, y'all might have to walk from here because the parade's about to start. It was about 5 minutes till 11 o'clock. One of the guys that was with us wasn't dressed in his costume at all. You are able to buy food from food vendors on the side of the street, but once again, it is cash only. So I did not end up buying food. Thankfully, a girl that I was with bought me some bread. There was other stuff, but I didn't want to spend too much of her cash, and she bought me like a piece of bread. So I was like, I at least need to put something on my stomach because I haven't eaten all day. So I ate some bread, and she got something too, and we just went about our day. So once again, you're gonna get with your group, your costume group, and then you're gonna have to cross the stage and like perform. So if you're a very shy person, maybe just kind of like stick in the back and move your shoulders. But like, I was like, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity. I'm gonna be up here in the front. I was dancing with girls. They were dancing with me. Don't even know who they were. There's gonna be pictures and videos, and like, it's a very big thing. So like, everyone that was in a wedding, just hop on stage and just boom, 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 boom. Like, it was so fun, y'all. I'm not gonna lie. And then after us, like, Radiance was next, and they came on stage. You're probably wondering how I end up linking back up with everybody, because I only found 3 girls. But after we got off stage, a friend of ours was off to the side, and that's where we kind of hopped out of the parade line, and we took some pictures on the side with everyone that we could. And then the part that I don't really like is after you cross the stage, there's not really any guidance and or instruction. You can mix and mingle back with people from other costumes at that point, but there's not really any guidance of where to go and where to walk. Also, I did not know about the food situation. I thought we were going to go somewhere for lunch after the parade, and other people thought that too. So while we were walking after we were done, we thought we were walking to somewhere with lunch. No, there's a parade float that has food that they pass out to you if you have your Zuvo wristband. And I'm like, well, how am I supposed to eat and go? Because it's a plate with a fork and a spoon situation. But I have my phone and my fan in one hand. So I don't know how I'm supposed to eat with the other hand. I don't know. It was just a lot going on. And then anytime you needed water, you have to go find a float with water. The only time I saw a restroom, there was a restroom truck like with porta potties on it. I saw that once the whole time we're out there. And I don't know how you're supposed to unstrap your gear to pee. Like, I don't know how people were doing it. So anyway, food and water could have been communicated on how we're supposed to get that better. I end up not getting any lunch because, like I said, I had no hands to hold anything. And you can't just like stop and eat because the parade is walking. Like, you get separated from everybody. Eventually, we were tired because we got there out at 11, the hottest point of the day. It was about 4 or 5 o'clock at this point, and we were ready to go. Like I said, we had walked a really long walk. I think the parade route was at least 5 or 6 miles. You want to wear tennis shoes too. I don't know how girls wear heels and boots, but that is crazy. And then a lot of the girls that had wings, they end up giving their wings away. They end up giving their headpieces away. It was just a lot of that gear became so heavy that they were just giving it away. So just keep that in mind. Like, although this costume costs like anywhere from $800 to like $1,200, a lot of the girls are just giving their stuff away or just ended up on the ground. Now, I will say, I don't think that costume should have cost that much because I pulled the costume out the box and jewels were already falling off. And then when I look at the jewels and where they came from, they were literally hot glued on there. So I think if something costs $1,000 or more, it should be secured on there. But I had jewels falling off my crown. I had jewels falling off my bra. And it just wasn't secure. It was literally hot glued on there. Supposedly Zuvo is like the best carnival designer in St. Lucia. But I just thought overall it was very cheap. A lot of the girls' stuff was just falling apart or falling off or not. You know, it was just hot glued. So I don't know if it was really worth that much. I think Zuvo maybe invested a lot of the money into their merch, their Zuvo merch. But them costumes, no, they were pretty cheap. I'm not gonna lie. I caught up with a couple people and they got the pin location to the bus. Why was the bus another 55-minute walk from where we were? And it looked like we had went back the same way that we had started. So at the end of it all, after walking back to the bus and walking the parade route, we walked about 7.5 to 8 miles. And by the time we got back to the bus, it was 6 p.m. A long day. There were food trucks wherever our bus was parked. So a lady brought me, once again, cash only. A lady brought me some fries and I just told her I'll eat when I get back to the hotel. You know, we ended up sitting on the bus and the bus driver, we were asking, hey, can we get dropped off and then you come back for the other people later? Because there's people that want to stay out here all night. And he was like, no, we're waiting on everyone. So that's another thing. It's just like when you're ready to go, you unfortunately have to wait. And we sat on that bus for 2.5 hours waiting on everybody. And then we got stuck in traffic because we had to wait that long. So that was not really a fun time waiting on everybody. And that was the end of Carnival Monday, y'all. My body was so sore by the time I got home because your body's stiff, right? Your body's stiff. You can't really bend and move in your costume unless you're trying to dance. And if you are, you're risking your jewels popping off your costume. And then I didn't get a chance to put on sunscreen because it's hard to put sunscreen in between the cracks and crevices of your costume. And also, I just didn't have time that morning while waiting on a photographer. So I got completely sunburned up here. My body was sore. My feet were hurting. Once again, the lack of food throughout the day and the availability of water and the availability to use the restroom, I was just like, I don't know if I could do this again tomorrow. I asked if the route from Monday was the same route as Tuesday, and it was. You'd be walking the same route except in your Tuesday wear, which was like a 2-piece swimsuit situation. I ended up giving mine away to my masseuse lady because on Tuesday, I made it a relaxation day. I went to the spa. I got a massage. I got a facial. I kicked it at the pool with a couple of the girls. We got a couple drinks. We did the free cocktail hour. And we really just wanted to relax. So I gave my Tuesday wear away because I was never going to wear it anyway. That was it. For Tuesday, they did it all again and they didn't get home or get back until 7 or 8 that night. And then Wednesday was departure day. So Wednesday being departure day was kind of chaotic. One of the girls was trying to leave at 10 or 10:30 because she predicted traffic would be bad and also that the airport would be backed up. When she contacted Roger on the side, he said that the earliest shuttle would be 11. And she's like, that is not going to work. We are not going to make it on time. And basically, she ended up getting into it with him about some other stuff. People were still mad about the wings. So she just ordered a taxi for 10:30. Then it was revealed the next day that there was going to be a 10 a.m. and a 10:30 bus. and an 11 o'clock bus. My situation is a little bit different. So when I booked SOCA Islands, I accidentally was looking at the 2025 itinerary, which said the 17th through the 23rd. So I booked my flights from the 17th to the 23rd. Mind you, the departure date for 2026 is the 22nd. So before I even came on the trip, I had booked another hotel somewhere else because I'm like, one extra day in St. Lucia is not going to hurt me. However, getting to that hotel is part of it. For that transfer, you know, the driver said he may be able to take me to my hotel, but since it was too far out the way, he could not. So the best thing they could offer was to take me to the airport. I was like, okay, well, I'll just go to the airport and see if they have any standby flights. So we did an hour-and-a-half drive to the airport. I did end up getting sick, which is crazy because I didn't get sick the whole ride. I took my Dramamine and everything, still got sick, and that's where my MessFet cup went in the trash because I kind of off to the side. No one knew. I closed the cup, threw the cup away when I got to the airport, and they did not have any standby flights available. So at that point, I was like, well, at least I had a hotel booked as a backup. And that's when I downloaded Uber and took an Uber all the way to Samphe Gardens. Samphe Gardens is 2 or 3 minutes away from where we were on our land and sea tour the previous days, closer to Sugar Beach. So at least the area was familiar. It was just a long ride of ups and downs and lefts and rights and fronts and backs. Those roads are rough. But the Uber was great. I'm glad Uber dropped me off there, and yeah, I was at Samphe Garden. Check-in was at 2 o'clock. My room was amazing. The view was amazing. They had a pool. I thought breakfast was included, but it's not. You can ask for breakfast, but you do have to pay for it. So they had me order my breakfast the night before, turn in my sheet. Then here's the part with the cash. So I asked, was there anything to eat up here? She said there was a lunch place, but they only take cash, and I did not have cash. And then she said there is a lunch and dinner place, and they take card or cash. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna go to them for dinner. So I did skip lunch. I ended up eating some of the snacks in my Zuvo bag. And then for dinner, she explained that it was a 5-minute walk up the mountain a little bit, and it's called Treetop Restaurant and Bar. So when I left, there's a security guard on the premises of Samphe Gardens. He explained that the hotel staff let him know that I was leaving, and he said he'd be on the lookout for me to come back. So I did feel safe knowing that someone knew that I was leaving and someone knew that I was coming back that night from the restaurant. So he said I may not see him when I come back to the hotel, but he will see me wherever he was. So I was like, okay, cool. So I started my 5-minute walk up the way. Mind you, these roads are jacked, so keep that in mind. And there's so many mango trees. Like, there's just dead mangoes, mushy mangoes all over the road because there's so many mangoes falling from the tree, which is crazy. I love mangoes. The smell is just of fresh mangoes. So I walked up the way. I could hear the music from the restaurant, and I made it there. I looked at their menu before I left. I already knew what I wanted, but this experience was a little bit different. So when I got there, I was greeted with a cocktail, and the staff was very nice. I was greeted by the bartender and then the lady that took me to my table, and they explained that it is one set price for all of the things on the menu. So basically it was $70. That doesn't include the taxes and stuff. So really it's like $85. And that includes 3 appetizers, 4 entrees, and 3 desserts, and a cocktail and water. So I got all of that for $85, which I don't think was bad. The view was amazing. They took pictures. Everyone that came by the table was very friendly. They're asking questions. I try not to tell them I was like completely by myself because you just never know. So I told them, oh, my friend is back at Samphe Gardens taking a shower. I'm just here getting something to eat real quick. I was with the group. Everyone's like, oh, did you jump for Carnival? So it was just like a really good time. Overall, that experience took like a couple hours. They want to give you time in between your food to digest before they serve you the next thing. So like I said, I had my appetizers, my entrees, and I took my desserts to go because it got dark really fast and it was pitch black outside. And mind y'all, I'm in a place that doesn't really have any street lights or a street. I started my walk back. It was very scary, I'm not gonna lie. Just me and my iPhone flashlight against the world. And then eventually I made it back to Samphe Gardens. I ran into someone else that was trying to go up the way, so I just pointed him up to where he needed to go. I didn't really enjoy any amenities. This was more so like I wanted to enjoy the view and the rest stop. So the night before, I had heard about a few weeks prior to the trip, I heard about Tropicab being like the Uber or the Lyft of the island. So I had Tropicab downloaded already. I had made an account already. And then what I did that night was just put my card information in the app, which they took the card, and then I booked my ride for tomorrow morning because I needed to leave. I needed to leave the hotel at 9:30 to get to the airport at 10:30 so I could catch my flight. So I booked it. They charged the card immediately before the ride, and then I got a WhatsApp message from Tropicab saying, "Hey Sierra, your trip has been booked. This is your driver. They're gonna be here at this time. We look forward to seeing you." I love that. So the next morning, I got my breakfast. Nice view on the terrace, and then I got a message pretty much in Tropicab that my driver was on the way and they would be here shortly. They're communicating through the Tropicab app at this point. "Hey, I'm on the way." And then I said, "Okay, I'm gonna go check out." So I checked out, I paid for my breakfast, and then my driver was there, and he was very nice, and we talked for a bit, and then I kind of was trying to go to sleep so I wouldn't get sick, and I told him I was prone to motion sickness, so he did a very good job driving the ups and downs and lefts and rights. We made it to the airport around 10:30, and that was it. The airport on day 2 versus day 1, complete 180. It was pretty much empty. There was no wait at the American Airlines check-in. There was no wait through TSA. The day before was so chaotic. So if you are gonna leave, maybe don't leave on the Wednesday after Carnival. Maybe leave on a Thursday after. Because it was crazy. I went there the day before, and then that was it. Yeah, and then I caught the flight back to Miami, back to Austin, and yeah. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like I said, I know this is a very lengthy video. I had to break down a lot of different things. The last part of the video I would like to acknowledge is that Roger did send an email yesterday stating that he apologizes that the Zuvo website and his website did not align when it came to costume choosing, and that he was very apologetic about us not getting the wings that we were promised, and that how it affected our Carnival experience, and that he has offered everyone a trip credit towards another SOCA Island trip moving forward. I don't know how much the credit is because he did not say. But tell me what you guys think in the comments. Should I give SOCA Island tours another try, another time for a different carnival? Also, if you do want to go to Carnival with me, please let me know. I am thinking about going in 2028 to a different carnival. I don't know which island, but please let me know in the comments below. Thank you guys for watching, and I appreciate all that that y'all do to support me. Bye.